Landlord, remove all modifications you made to my yard. But not like that, now I'm going to sue you for destruction of my property. Throw away just in case. TLDR. New landlord purchased the home my boyfriend and I rented and instructed us to remove all the modifications we had made to the yard, which included a pond, fountain, landscaping, etc. So we converted it to the dirt-only yard it had been when we moved in. He took us to court for damaging the property and the judge ruled in our favor. I'm 27M and live with my boyfriend, 28M. The Hussein question was our first place together that we'd been in for 5 years. It was the only place we could afford, and wasn't the most aesthetic when we moved in. It's shaped like a shipping container and not much bigger than one. Plus it's surrounded on 3 sides by 2-plus-story homes, and on the remaining side there is a parking lot for all of said homes which opens onto a major road. In the backyard, there was a tiny shed which fits a staked washer, dryer, and was otherwise a thin strip of dirt the length off the home boxed in by the shed and the privacy fences of the other homes. Our yard itself was not fenced in. We had to use the front door and walk around the home, then through the parking lot to access the laundry shed, yard, no back door. The original landlord was very receptive to us making improvements to the house. We painted, refinished the cabinets, tiled the bathroom, etc. In the backyard I built raised garden beds, installed a small pond and bird fountain, as well as other landscaping so that it became a bit of an unexpected oasis. We had an outdoor table and chairs so we could sit out there in the morning and share a cup of tea. As you may have put together, the original landlords owned the home and our lease transferred to the new owner. We had plans already in the works to purchase our first home together, so we only intended to stay to the end of the lease anyway and figured it shouldn't affect us too much. Almost immediately the new landlord began to harass nearly daily, often about issues entirely out of our control, such as cars being parked in the lot sideways, cars which were first of all our neighbors' cars and were merely slightly crooked, certainly not sideways. Once he showed up at the front door at 8:30 p.m. on a Friday. We had 2 friends over to play board games and have dinner, and he asked, "Are you going to wind up the party anytime soon, boys? Because people are going to get the wrong idea, you know." We did our best to appease the landlord for the remaining months, but it became extremely grating and honestly made me feel like I was being watched constantly. The final straw was when a technician came to fix the washing machine in the shed and the landlord noticed the table and chairs in the backyard. Received an email that evening telling us, yes in all caps, to remove all modifications of the yard. No patio furniture is permitted. Mind you, this isn't even visible from the road, but whatever. So I responded, just to be sure, apologies for the mistake. To confirm, you would like us to remove all modifications we have personally made to the yard since our move-in date of XX 4X? The answer? Yes. Remove immediately at the SONESTCONVENIENCE. You got it, Chief. We were just about in our final month of the lease and preparing to move to our new home. I had planned to leave the raised beds, plants, and an empty pond behind, obviously, but I decided I was going to revert the place to a dirt strip out of spite. So that's what I did. Collected my bird fountain, pump, my fish, the flower bulbs and other plants. I even took the dirt I purchased for the raised beds to our new home. We filled in the pond and made sure to remove all the grass so it was one sad strip of dirt again. The landlord was extremely angry to find the yard in that state. He was threatening to sue us for destruction of property because we ruined his pond. He tried to keep our security deposit and headed take us to small claims court over the damage. However, we were diligent when we had moved in and had photos of the original yard, plus the email instructing us to remove ALLMODIFICATIONS of the yard. He tried to say we had on other damage to the home, all of which was regular wear and tear after 5 years of occupancy, which any landlord should expect and is responsible over basic maintenance for such as repainting. Not to mention we could prove we left the place nicer than it was originally, with approval from the original landlord at the time we did the projects. I'm sure the judge saw though him immediately. He was quite rude and continued to interrupt her, to which she reprimanded him several times. Say, we got our security deposit back in full even having trashed the yard. Friday is my last day? If you insist. Hi all. This is one of my first ever posts on Reddit, so thanks for bearing with me. A little background. I work in the film, TV industry. At the time of this story, I was working an entry-level position called Production SSI Stant, PA for short, on a failing TV show. My duties included office upkeep, stocking the kitchen, research for coworkers, various paperwork, picking up supplies from vendors, and picking up lunch for everyone in the department, among a long list of other tasks. Now I really like my immediate boss, coordinator number 1. The two of us had a system to keep the office running, and were starting to become friends. The problem? Our department head was a sexist and racist ass. At the height of the hashtag #MeToo movement, might add. After one too many demeaning darlings, winks, sneaking his girlfriend into the office, and flipping through Tinder on company time, coordinator number 1 reported him to the higher-ups. Boot in typical Hollywood fashion, they gave him a gentle slap on the wrist and sent him back to the department. So, coordinator number 1 left the show into enter coordinator number 2. I knew number 2 and I wouldn't get along immediately. She had been fired from her previous TV show for attitude problems. On her first day she chewed me out for, "I hit you not," hanging the actor photos 11 inches too low on the wall. It only got worse from there. This woman sucked up to the creepy department head, found faults with everyone around her, and loved power trips. She quickly made herself a nuisance to everyone in the department. But creepy department head was too busy with Tinder to do anything. Between her constant berating, treating me like I was stupid, and unprofessional rudeness, she made my life a living hell. The final straw came when SHE screamed at me in front of the entire department for a small mistake. I almost bagged and walked out right there. In hindsight, it should have. But she told me I'd be replaced at the end of the month, so I thought I'd hang in the ring to collect a paycheck while I could. From then on, I counted down the days, and made no attempt to hide my misery. The thing is, the TV show had barely started filming and we were already severely behind schedule. The poor construction department was building sets 24/7, and the first episode was supposed to air in the next few weeks. For everyone in our department, this meant extremely long hours and working 6 days a week. Not my problem. I was leaving soon. Number 2 reminded me on the last week, "Friday is your last day." It ended up being a hell of a week. More long and running behind schedule. The department would need to work another Saturday. Well, Friday came, and I gleefully counted down the hours. At the end of the day, number 2 realized her mistake. She hustled over to me on my way out the door. "Can you work Saturday?" Cue malicious compliance. "Nope. You said Friday is my last day." That's when she got huffy. I'm trying to some extra money. Giving up one day of my measly PA paycheck was well worth the look on her face when I said, "No thanks. Friday is my last day. Bye," and walked out to happily never see her again. I took a job on a much better TV show a few weeks later with the nicest crew. To this day I've worked on lots of other shows, and I always warn my coworkers not to ever work with her. Turns out she has quite the bad reputation around town even without my help. The fallout after I left. Now that there was no PA working Saturday, number 2 had no choice but to do bother job and mine. Years later, I'm now a coordinator. And I can tell you it's a job that keeps you busy. There's no way I'd be able to get anything done without the help of my amazing pop. So it gives me extreme satisfaction to know she had to get off her high horse, halt her very important emails, and go get everyone lunch and snackies until my replacement was found. You have to get as low as possible. This happened when I was teaching from 2010-2011 in Arizona. For the sake of the sub, I'll say that I worked at a school that happened to have a classroom full of adult-aged 5th graders. They had the same maturity as 5th graders, learning 5th and 6th grade math. At Scrappy Doo Charter School for Adults, which actually happened to moonlight as a University of Phoenix campus, I got the upstairs corner office classroom. I had 2 walls that were completely windows, 100% see-through panes. It made it difficult in some ways, like not enough wall space, but overall it worked out. The students loved being able to look outside and see the entire neighborhood. When I say all windows, I mean all. I'm 6 feet 2 inches, and from slightly above knees all the way up to the ceiling it was see-through panes of glass. It was gorgeous. Despite being a school that teaches adult 5th graders and beyond, we had lockdown procedures that we practiced monthly. During a lockdown, all staff and students had to be below all outward-facing windows for the entire lockdown. Had the group of us sit crisscross apples, which was fun to see with this group of Billy Madison-style giant 5th graders, and we took turns telling scary stories in a whisper. My principal did not like this one bit. He burst in during our mockdown and yelled at everybody, saying, "You have to be as low as possible so you don't die from a stray bullet." Wow. Despite these kids being adults, they were still, in a sense, kids. Way to freak them out for next time, SS hole. And #X200B. Anyway, wouldn't you know it, a month and a half later something goes down at the Handler Mall, where a domestic dispute turns into a kidnapping begging point. The man took his former significant other around, right past our school. We went on lockdown quickly, and this time I was ready for some mighty fine MC. And #X200B, we got as low as possible. We all had pillows and blankets that I let them previously stash, brand new, in our closets in backup cubbies, and we all had nap time. Me included. I did not plan on laying down and actually sleeping. I just wanted to see the look on my principal's face when he saw a room full of manchildren having nap time during an actual emergency and lockdown. I got to see his face after hearing him bang on my door, which I somehow propped shut with a chair. His furious face made Meso friggin' happy. It's one of the best joys of my life, along with those kids. They were all great.